it's hard for me to take most Christians seriously anymore, frankly. And it's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. No, let me just. So every morning I wake up. First thing I do is say my prayer. I feed the dogs first, let them outside to go potty. Say my prayers, and I open up the good book and I read a couple passages. All right, so I'm on Isaiah. All right, so a couple things jumped out at me. Let me look into deeper than that. So I come across this Isaiah 40:22 on the shape of the earth. All right, and this is creation.com. And the first thing, just creation.com. So like the ICR. ICR, what the hell does it stand for? Yeah, ICR is this. I'm not even sure if creation.com is part of ICR, but I'm big in Institute of Creation Research. I like it. I'm a creationist, 100%. A proud creationist, because we know evolution's just dumb. Come on. The primordial. Yeah, I don't want to get into that because that will offset this. But anyway, so I like things like creationism. I kind of have a inclination towards the young earth, actually, when you actually look at humanity as it is. But, I'm not so convinced that. That's one thing I'm interested in learning more about, young earth creationism. Not quite there, but I have an open mind. Either way, creationism 100%. I got no qualm with that at all. So I like people who take a stand in favor of creationism over the silliness of evolution. But it doesn't matter. So here's creation.com. These guys would be my kind of folks, right? Creationists, oh my goodness, rabble rousers. You don't believe the science. But yet here, let me show you what they do. The first line of Isaiah 40:22 reads, "It is he, God, who sits above the circle of the earth." Some have argued that this scripture teaches the earth to be a flat disk rather than a globe. However, even if the original Hebrew is correctly understood to refer to a circle, I want to go to the original Hebrew in just a second, that doesn't necessarily indicate something flat. It doesn't necessarily indicate a sphere either. Let's just be clear there. All right, it doesn't indicate either. It just says a circle. A circle could be looking down on it, or a circle could be a sphere, for sure. All right, so then it goes the Hebrew word in Job. In many Bible versions, it translates to a vault. Okay, 100%. A case can be made from modern European terms denoting sphericity. I don't, okay, whatever. I mean, that it doesn't, and I'll share with you why here in just a second. Various 16th century Latin Bibles indicate the medieval scholars understood this word in Isaiah 40:22 to refer to the basic spherical of the earth. Okay, whatever. The Latin scholars of the 1600s. Anyway, conclusion. While most modern Bible versions translate this word in the Hebrew as a circle, a good case can be made that a sphere. All right, it doesn't, I don't care. I literally don't care what your position is on that. I mean, you could have a position. That's not my point. My point is this guy sends a whole article to talk about Isaiah 40:22 and how the word circle could be translated or have different meanings instead of just circle looking down on a disc or the circular of a globe. All right, and that's fine. And I'm like, but my thing is, he does not say once. Let me keep going. Everyone is in agreement that the word ku carries a sense of roundness, i.e. a circle or a sphere. And common usage makes clear that this can refer to either a 2 or 3 dimensional geometry. Hence, it cannot be argued clearly teaches the earth to be a disk. No, it doesn't. I got no qualm with saying that. But I want to point out something. So as I'm doing my reading, this is the reason that just bothered me. Let's look at Isaiah 22:18. Literally just 2 sections before that, or a couple. He will roll you up tightly like a ball. He'll roll you up like a ball and throw you into a large country. There you will die. So literally, a couple sections before that, they say explicitly the word ball. All right? And this is what ticks me off about this guy who wrote this. He does not say anything about that in here, in his article about Isaiah 22:18, until a comment comes in. And that ticks me off. I'm like, can't. Right here, Oleg says Isaiah 22:18 uses the word ball. What is that right there? If Hebrews didn't see any difference between ball and circle, they would use the same word, but they don't. 100%. But this isn't a comment. In the comment section, this guy, the author, didn't say anything about that 22:18 in this right here. So it's an error of omission, not an error of commission. And he knows this too because he goes on to answer, and a good answer, right here. Words can have semantic overlap, and a simple word study demonstrates this here. The same word, der, which is what they say in the Hebrew, and we'll talk about that, even used in the same grammatical context, is in Isaiah 29:3. And I will encamp against you all around. Are we to understand that army besieging Jerusalem formed a dome over the city? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get where he's saying he circled the city. Encircled. Just look at any version, King James, I don't care which version it is. It said he was encircled. The city was encircled. And I will encamp against you all around. I will encircle my armies against you. Just look at any version, 29:3. You can, well, I'll just read it to you right here, 29:3 in the NIV. 29:3. I will encamp against you all around. I will encircle you with towers. Okay, that's what the Bible in Isaiah says right there. So, and they might be using the same word right there, der, all right? But you did not say that, guy, in your initial article. You did not say it until you were called out. I don't know why he says the dome thing. I don't get that. I mean, I don't get it. So are we to assume that he's saying the army besieging Jerusalem formed a ball around the city? Well, he's formed a circle, 100%. And he said a ball explicitly. Anyway, so then this is what ticks me off. In the Latin, he talked about that, but right here, when ships disappear over the horizon, we lose sight of the whole first, and then the mass. In ancient times, before telescopes were invented, the same effect would be observed by sailors coming to the land before the hills, seeing the hills before the beaches. Okay, so we simply, with technology, we've completely obliterated that argument against ships going over the curvature of the earth. That's just a freaking idiotic thing to say anymore. But he was saying this in 2016. You can't use that to prove a curved earth. It's just dumb, man, because I'll just prove it to you right here once and for all. I mean, it's so, I get it. Most people aren't when they hear anything that's even close to flat earth, they get, oh my goodness, they get, I can't be a flat earth, and those guys are dumb. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. And so here we go. This is Boston, that's Boston from Niles Beach in Gloucester, Massachusetts, 25 miles away. You should not be able to see that on a curve. You should be able to see, frankly, I mean, well, to be honest with you, you should be able to see the tops of the John Hancock building. But as you can clearly see, you can see all the bottoms of the buildings. And they'll say it's refraction. The whole refraction thing is so freaking stupid. It's like embarrassing to even debate that. But you have to because that's all they got. Refraction. Okay, so we refraction. Look. How come it always perfectly aligns with refraction? It always does. How come the ships that were going over the curve didn't refract? It's weird. The refraction always perfectly aligns right where it would be if we didn't have refraction, and we don't refract things that supposedly go over the horizon. It's freaking stupid. Anyway, I hate that argument because it's so. And then we take pictures on multiple days, which I've done. I've had friends do. A guy I was in the army with, my sister did. And you can have multiple days, multiple temperatures, during the afternoon, during the morning, in the summertime, in the wintertime. It still always shows the same thing. It's not refraction. It's silly. Right? Does that mean the Earth is flat? No, it doesn't mean the Earth is flat either. But to say because of this guy right here, ships going over the horizon, we lose sight of the whole first, and then the mass. It's so idiotic. But how do you explain that? It's called perspective. Anyway, we'll get in that here in just a second. And so we got another one here too. Actually, before I go that, but my thing is that you omitted that. You didn't say anything about Isaiah 22:18 until you were called out on there, Christian. We're not done here. We got a lot to talk about, so hang in there. Stay tuned. This is a long video because I'm ticked in a wonderful way. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. The Lord is good always. And if loving the Lord is wrong, I don't want to be right. I'm telling you, man. Once you see through the fog, it liberates you. It lifts everything up. You don't have to be worried anymore. But you got to break through the fog, even as a Christian, and recognize the lies that have been told to you. Again, this is 2016, but he wrote a Job 26:7-10. He goes, and he spreads his cloud over it. He covers the face of his throne. He covers the face of his throne with his clouds. He spreads his clouds over it, and he drew a circular horizon on the face of the water. All right, this guy says a circular horizon on the face of the water to show the curvature. A lot of flat earthers will say it's a dome. There's a dome above. I don't know. I can't prove it either way. But that in of itself is a good point. But that doesn't say there's an argument to be had on that. And you can debate that. I don't feel like debating that argument because right now it's not actually all that interesting to me. But I want to show you something else here too. Remember, these are creationists. These aren't atheists or agnostics or scholarly folks at MIT who don't know their head from the hole in the ground. These are creationists, our guys, our people. The recent resurrection of flat earth belief is very strange. It's hard for me to believe that it's not a weird joke, but some on the internet seem to take it seriously. But today is a very simple thing to test. If Oleg calls or Skypes me in Australia from the Ukraine, and he's talking about Oleg down here, all right, talk about Oleg, our man Oleg. If Oleg calls or Skypes me in Australia from the Ukraine at the 12 at noon, I could show him that it's currently 10 p.m. and outside of it is dark, the sun on the other side of the earth. Oh. For anyone who thinks the Bible thought the earth was flat, try Google Aristophanes. I'm sitting there thinking Aristophanes. I'm like, oh my goodness. Aristophanes. Now look, these are 7 years. This was written 7 years ago, so we've had 7 years now to learn. Hopefully they have, but I bet they haven't. Try to Google Aristophanes, the Greek mathematician who first accurately calculated the circumference of the earth. I'm just sitting there thinking, I can't believe we're using things of Aristophanes and the fact that in the Australia it's light, whereas in Ukraine it's dark. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so here, different opposites of the problem when trying to get up to the as to demonstrate the curvature of the earth. We challenge Oleg to try to see the Southern Cross. Well, you can't really see the Southern Cross in the Northern Hemisphere. Why? And you can't really see Polaris in the Southern Hemisphere as a Northern Star. Why? I mean, it's not that. I'll put links in the videos where you can look for yourself as to why. There's pretty simple answers. But here, it's called perspective. So I want to show you some. This is what I took when I was at, one second. I took from my hotel room and I was in Maine about a year and a half ago. It's called perspective. As you clearly can see, the wall, the floor isn't rising and the ceiling isn't going down. It's perspective. As things get further away, they become smaller and smaller and smaller until they're no longer able to be seen. And the interesting thing, there's lots of stars in the sky. You can see in some degree latitude or from the north hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. It's all perspective, dudes. As things get further, I mean, just think about it. Just go to Lowe's, for instance. Now, Lowe's is big, or Costco, I don't care. You see the thing directly above you. So you'll see a light directly above you. As you stand there and you look, you'll see the lights that are at literally the same level, still directly above you, will go like this, just like I'm showing you here. I mean, I guess I lost it. I mean, and I'll put some videos for you to look at yourself. It's incredibly interesting. It's liberating because you're like, oh my goodness. All right, so anyway, so these things are so easily debunked that you can say, well, and then the fact that it's sunny on one side of the earth and cloudy on the dark on the other, that's just silly. We don't need to get into that. I mean, anyway. The point is, this isn't to debunk Christians, but one part of this is to say, have you even thought 2 seconds flat? Especially when we're talking about the Hebrew language for which the Bible was written in. I have any familiarity with Block Hebrew versus Paleo Hebrew, right? The Phoenician language. What are you using as your Bible language? If it's Block Hebrew, you're wrong, dude. Let's go into it. The Hebrew alphabet. The Canaanite Hebrew alphabet is developing from the Aramaic alphabet taking place during the Persian, Hellenistic, and Roman periods 500 BC to 550 AD, all right? It replaced the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, which was used in the earliest epigraphic records of the Hebrew language. The history of the Hebrew alphabet is not to be confused with the history of the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, which is called the Phoenician. Paleo-Hebrew alphabet is a modern term, is also called the Phoenician alphabet, all right? And when used to write Hebrew. The script was used by the kingdoms of Israel and Judah, as well as throughout the Canaan more generally during the 10th to 7th centuries BC. Paleo-Hebrew, the Phoenician alphabet. Interesting. Following the Babylon Empire or exile, the Jews gradually stopped using the Phoenician script and instead adopted a square form of the Aramaic alphabet. Block Hebrew. All right, let's keep going. The square variant of the Aramaic developed into the Hebrew alphabet proper during the Second Temple period, about 1 century AD. It was not complete before the 1st century AD. Block Hebrew is what square variant of the Aramaic developed into the Hebrew alphabet was not used before the 1st century AD. The Samaritan alphabet, on the other hand, remains a direct descendant of the Paleo-Hebrew script. The Hebrew alphabet was later adapted in order to write down the languages of the Jewish diaspora, and was retained all the while relatively unadapted from forms throughout the diaspora from Hebrew, which remained the language of the Jewish law. The Hebrew alphabet was also retained as the alphabet used for the writing down the Hebrew language during its rebirth in the late 18th century, in 19th century. Are you hearing me now? I'm gonna put a video from my man Harry Hubbard, who I want to interview. I just talked to him just the other day, who is very knowledgeable on this about the Dead Sea Scrolls. First and foremost, how it was written in block Hebrew. There wasn't block Hebrew during the time of Isaiah, and Moab is Phoenician script. So how do you square those two things? But literally, how do you square those two things? I'd love to know. So part 2 of this, let's keep going. My man Terry Eicher, all right, and we're reading. I forgot what was it. So remember, we've had creationists obviously committing errors of omission. There's no other way that guy did not do that. He said it did not. That guy committed an error of omission, which is horrible. You can't commit errors of omission, and it's frustrating me. We got block Hebrew, basically relatively new Hebrew script that essentially replaced the Paleo Hebrew, the Phoenician Hebrew from the times of the Old Testament. It's just a fact, all right? So we got these two things. We got creationists saying the world is, even though the Bible is pretty, look, there's lots of discussion, but there's very few places does the Bible call for a round earth, all right? Now, we can debate on this all day long, but don't sit there and say the Bible is explicitly promoting a round earth. It's just not, man. It's silly. Now, does that mean the earth is flat? No. But let's not just fall for this like, oh my goodness. No. If you want to commit errors of omission, don't come to my freaking neck of the woods, because I hate that stuff. I hate when people know and they pretend it doesn't exist. That bothers me, man. It really does. Like, you knew that was out there, but until you got called out by Oleg in that one article, you didn't say anything about Isaiah 22:18. Yeah, pound sand there, clown. I'm mad. All right, so then we're going to watch my man Terry Eicher. This guy freaking nuts, man. And we're going to talk about the KJV. Well, all the Christians, like Catholic, like we all do this, man. Our team red versus blue. I'm a KJV guy. Well, I'm a Catholic. I'm going to show you. So let's watch this.
Anybody that's biblically literate knows that when you open the King James Version Bible, you're reading an English version of a Bible that has been translated over from Hebrew, okay? Now, the King James Version was...
Did you hear that? Was translated over from Hebrew, all right?
Translated over in 1611. Now, I want to take you...
King James, translated from Hebrew, 1611, KJV. All right, let's go. Keep going. Maybe I should put this a little bit faster, actually. I love Terry, but I'm going to put it just a tad faster. All right, there we go.
To the second book of Samuel, and you're going to flip to chapter 11, verse 11. And here's what it says. And Uriah said unto David, the ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of thy lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into mine house to eat and to drink, and to lie with my wife, as thou livest?
Now, hopefully you're all familiar with the story of Uriah and then David. And this is David's just a clown show, man. It's evil crap here, dude. But it's a great story. It's a great story. It's a wonderful story. That's why I love the Bible, because it shows you how men have just lost their way. How we can't be Jesus because we're so corrupted, and yet God forgives. It's amazing. All right, let's keep going.
As thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. Okay, now here's what I want you to understand. Right here where it says are encamped in the open fields, this has been changed. This was changed in the King James versions. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. With the very first translation of the Bible from Hebrew to English, the very first time that it was ever translated, was.
Do you guys know? Yes, the Tyndale Bible. You know of Tyndale? The man, the myth, the legend? Tyndale? The guy crushes. The first edition of the Matthew's Bible by everyone's favorite William Tyndale, who just freaking is fantastic. Look at that, $325,000, dude. If I had $325,000, I'd buy that. Yeah, we're gonna pay. What did some guy pay for a freaking thing of air? Some art of air, like $300,000. Let's keep going.
1537, 60 years before the King James translation. As you can see, it reads the first edition, the first printing of the Bible, called the Matthew Bible. Okay, now remembering what I just showed you in the King James Version of Samuel 2, chapter 11, verse 11, right here where it says, are encamped in the open fields. Now let's look in the original translation of the Bible and see what it says. Now, the average person doesn't have this Bible, so let's go to Google, and I'll show it to you this way. It'd be the very fastest and simplest way to do it. Okay, now let's Samuel 2, and we're going to flip over to chapter 11, verse 11. Now, in 1537, they use this Gothic writing, which is difficult for a lot of people to read, but it's very easy to see. I'm going to zoom in here and show you what chapter 11, verse 11 says in the original translation. And it says, my Lord Job and learnings of my Lord lie in tents upon the flat earth. Zoom in where you can see that, right there.
What? The King James Bible changed it? What? What? That's crazy.
In tents upon the flat earth.
Oh, this isn't just a bash at King James. NIV, Catholic Bibles. The Jesuits probably had their hands involved in there somehow.
Now, imagine that, people. Still don't believe me? Let me take you over to a different site where they actually print the words out for you, what it says. Now, take a look here. Verse 11, chapter 11. Let's read what it says. And Uriah said unto David, the ark and Israel and Judah dwell in pavilions, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord lie in tents upon the flat earth. Once again, do you not see that with your own eyes?
I do, Terry.
Flat earth. Tents upon the flat earth. Now, I don't care whether you believe me or not. I'm just putting the facts out there for you. The rest is on you. You've been lied to, people.
100%, man.
You need to research this. There you are. 1537, the first edition, the first printing of the Bible in English. And just in case you're double blind, I'm going to show you again. Right there. You see that? In black and white, like you asked. Flat earth. If you can't see it, you can go here where you can see it real good. The servants of my Lord lie in tents upon the flat earth. Or you can go back to this King James Version that your owners created for you and rewrote for you 60 years later, where it says are encamped in the open fields. You've been lied to, people. And the sad thing about this is that just about every Christian there is will only accept the King James Version as doctrine when it's not. The William Tyndale Bible is the true doctrine, the true first translated Bible from Hebrew to English. And believe it or not, he was killed for translating that Bible from Hebrew to English because it was illegal to do at the time that he done it. So like I said, they burned him and hung him at the stake for translating this Bible. And the Freemason King James came along and changed his words from flat earth to open fields. Now, let me get you a little bit familiar with Mr. William Tyndale,
We'll
the
stop
first
there,
man to translate the Bible from Hebrew to English.
Tyndale's a man. Like Wilberforce, Tyndale. I mean, we got so many heroes in Christianity. It's nuts. Now, you can believe what you want to believe. You call. I don't care. Unsubscribe. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm just look, man. The truth shall set you free from the oppressors that are holding you down to see the world for as it is. And you know full well, you can see it when you feel it. You just know something's wrong. You're like, something's not right. Something isn't right. Why is it always red versus blue? You know, now we're supposed to get all mad at China because some stupid balloon. I mean, no. Oh, I'm telling you. I don't know what the earth is. I have no clue. I find it interesting, but I do not like being lied to. I don't like errors of omission or errors of commission. It ticks me off something wicked, man. Don't flip and lie to me. Don't lie to me. And if you're a Christian and you're lying to me, that's, that makes me so mad. C.S. Lewis talks about that a lot. Yeah. I'm unsubscribing, Josh. You don't see my worldview. Okay, we'll see you.